There we have it. Team Liquid. My former team have just dropped the ball. The cadiaN is now no longer part of the active roster. He's been put to the bench as it was rumored a couple of months ago for the first time. cadiaN was brought into Team Liquid to solve what had been an issue for them for a long time. We know Team Liquid's history, we know the capabilities of the players, we know the star power that's always been Team Liquid, a team that has been focused around the star players, a team that's always had firepower, but a team that lacked direction, a team that lacked a strong voice within the team that could lead them somewhere back to relevancy, I always might argue. If you're also tired of paying too much when you're buying or selling skins, then use GamerPay. Low fees and up to 30% cheaper than the Steam market. It's a P2P place, which means the skins stay safe in your inventory until they sell. Let me show you how it works. As a buyer, you just search for your favorite skin, and they'll pop up quickly on your screen. As a seller, you can easily list your skins here. Even tells you what a good price on average price would be, so you avoid getting scammed. When you buy or sell your skins, the money will be put into escrow, which means GamerPay takes care of it until the skin is either traded or sent to the new buyer. Essentially, it makes it safe to deal with skins in a very complicated market. So make sure to use GamerPay in order to avoid getting scammed and get the best prices on your favorite skins. Team Liquid for a long time have been a top 8, top 10 team, maybe even top 15 at certain points. A team that you wouldn't really count making the playoff, and a team that you wouldn't really count on doing any sort of big things at big tournaments. Even a team that at certain points failed to qualify for some of the tournaments in the tier 1 scene. Now, the solution to that was to bring in cadiaN, but also bring back Twist from FaZe Clan. And I like that idea. I like the fact that Twist was ballsy enough to say, listen, I'm going to leave FaZe Clan. I'm going to pack Team Liquid, going to come back to my home. I believe in the project with cadiaN. I believe in this whole new roster. I liked it when I saw it the first time on paper as well. I thought to myself, you bring in a strong voice, you bring in a strong character in cadiaN, a guy that has proven himself over and over in Heroic, a guy that's been in NA before. To those of you who don't know, he went to, I think it was Rogue in 2016, 2017 maybe, where he had an overseas adventure. So he's been there before, knows a bit about the culture, knows a bit about the players, how to handle them, how to deal with them. Everything on paper looked like cadiaN within Team Liquid was going to be a great fit. But we saw from the get-go that struggles were present. We saw them fail to qualify for the major, which was a massive disappointment for Liquid, for cadiaN, for the entire team. We saw them struggle online against, dare I say it, tier 3, tier 4, low-level NA opponents, people and NA players who are, not to take a dig at that scene, but slowly but surely finding the rhythm, slowly but surely finding that level. But when you compare that level to the top European scene, nowhere near where Liquid should be. They were struggling, they were losing, they were not qualifying through open qualifiers for certain tournaments, etc. So we saw glimpses in the beginning, and we thought to ourselves, listen, it's growing pains. For a guy like cadiaN to come in and redefine the way you think Counter-Strike, the way you play Counter-Strike in a different culture, let's give them some time. And then the rumors hit us. I think, what is it, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, the first article came out that rumors had it that there's been perhaps some confrontations within the teams. There's been disagreements in how you play Counter-Strike, how you approach Counter-Strike. And I thought to myself, hell no, you're not going to go down this route. You're not going to go down the route of signing cadiaN, bringing him into your team, and then not let him lead the team the way he sees it the best fit. You've seen it before. Yakinda had a trial period as an in-game leader. Didn't work out. You brought back Nitro from Valorant, didn't work out. Even when Liquid were dominating for, 64 days when they won the Intel Grand Slam. When you think about that era, when you think about that time where they were winning tournaments, you don't point towards Nitro, the in-game leader at the time, saying he was the driving force behind that. He outsmarted, outfigured every opponent. Sure, he had a say in it, and sure, he was playing great individually, but it was always about the star players, always about Elise, always about the individual shining. Twist back then as well when he was in Liquid and they were dominating. It felt like it was a team that always focused on making the most out of the individual players and not so much from the tactical aspect. Back then, fine. It found success for them, It made them win the Intel Grand Slam. They were definitely relevant at the top tier scene. I think Counter-Strike has changed though. I think Counter-Strike has changed to a point now where you don't have a foundation that is strong enough, you will struggle. Occasionally, you can rely on your star players. Occasionally, they will show up and they will play a good tournament for you. They'll play a couple of good games. They'll surprise your opponents. But if you want to be consistently good at Counter-Strike in 2024, you need a solid foundation. You need a way of approaching the game, and you need consistency in the way you do so. And I thought Liquid would bring that with cadiaN. Here's my deal though. We don't know from the outside the inner workings of Team Liquid. It could be the case that cadiaN went into Team Liquid and he was not the same cadiaN they thought they bought from Heroic. Now, my issue with that thought process is that I haven't seen that being reflected anywhere. I haven't seen that being poised in interviews. I haven't heard Liquid say anything about it. None of the players have leaked anything in that regard. Now, that would be a valid excuse. If Liquid bought cadiaN from Heroic, they thought he would be as motivated. He would come in with the same drive, the same engagement, the same power, the same, I guess, mood. Then what would you do if you're Team Liquid and you found out that, listen, it's only 50% of what we thought we got? cadiaN is no longer motivated. He's not playing as hard. He's not practicing as hard. He's not as driven as he used to be. We don't know if that's the case. What I do want to say that is, from the outside, it looked like a great signing. From the inside, probably it was not. We saw nafly in a couple of interviews hint that there was some stylistic, I would say, difficulties to accommodate for both cadiaN, for nafly, for Twist, for some of the players. So they weren't seeing eye to eye at all times. Now, from an outside perspective, as great as the signing looked, as big of a failure does it look like now when it didn't work out? He's been put on the bench, and here's my deal with that. I think cadiaN is going to find a home. I think cadiaN is going to find a team, and cadiaN will land on his feet, and I don't really worry for cadiaN. It's a setback for sure. It's an adventure that I think when he signed the contract, he thought it was going to be much, much better, a much more beautiful story. So that's going to sting a little bit for cadiaN. But I feel relatively comfortable that cadiaN will land on his feet somewhere else. Now for Team Liquid, I'm not really sure. Like, I want to say that I believe in that team. I want to say I believe in the individuals. When you have Twist, Yikinda, nafly at your disposal, you're supposed to be one of the best teams out there. You're supposed to contest for playoff every single time. Hell, you're even supposed to maybe even contest for the trophies. But they're so far away from that right now. There's also rumors circulating that Skulls perhaps is leaving the team, going to Furia. So he'll be a replacement for Kai over there, which means the Liquid now will have to find 2 new players. Again, what do you do if you're Team Liquid from a strategical point of view? Let's play with the idea that they signed cadiaN, they figured out it wasn't what they thought they got. Do they go back to the NA scene? Do they try another European leader? Do they target a guy like Glaive, who's a little bit more well-known for setting up his individuals, setting up his star players? Is that a solution for Team Liquid? I'm curious to see where they're going to go. So, where I'm quite certain cadiaN will find a new home relatively easy and he will land on his feet. That's going to be fine. It could be great for Team Liquid. It could be that they're landing on their feet. It could be an upgrade. It could be a Team Liquid that is coming out of the summer break looking much sharper, much better, and much more aligned. But I'm a little bit worried that's not going to be the case. Personally, I don't really know where Team Liquid are going to go with this. It's a bit of a shock for me. I thought they were going to buy into cadiaN, and the reason why I'm entertaining this idea that cadiaN weren't as motivated as he probably should have been, otherwise it doesn't make sense. You know, on paper, it doesn't make sense to get rid of him. It doesn't make sense not forcing the players to buy into his system, buying into the way he plays Counter-Strike. He made Heroic a team where the individuals weren't great enough to be a top 5 team in the world. At certain points win tournaments, at certain points being the world number 1 ranked team. So he's shown that he can do that. So I am entertaining the idea that something was off with cadiaN. I am entertaining the idea that Liquid could be better off without cadiaN, but I kind of want to see it before I believe it. It's been a long time where Liquid haven't been competitive. It's been a long time where Liquid have been struggling, and you know, I don't really tend to be biased towards anything or anyone. I get a lot of flack in Denmark for not being biased towards Astralis, and then I go on this segment and I get a lot of flack from the international viewers for being biased towards Astralis, so there's seemingly no winning. Having played for Team Liquid, I have a soft spot for them in the sense that I think they have too big of a team, too big of a brand, too big of a budget not to be more competitive than they are. So my fingers are crossed that they will find a solution that works out for them. If I had to put a player in the pool right there, I mentioned his name, Glaive. He's been praised to be an in-game leader that is getting the most out of his individuals. He is calling on the fly strats. He's calling based on whatever individuals on his team want to do, and that's the exact way Twist, nafly, Yikinda is approaching the game as well. I could see a world where Glaive is being poached by Team Liquid, and he would be a great fit for this team, but we'll have to wait and see. More curious to hear your thoughts as well. Do you also find it a little bit puzzling that cadiaN is no longer part of Team Liquid, or are you okay with the decision? Especially you NA fans over there. I know you care a lot for Team Liquid. You want an NA team to represent you at the highest level. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings about this move?